is over for about half the nation in FBS play, and unfortunately for what, a fifth 2017, 18, 19, 20, 21. I guess it would be fifth consecutive season if I'm counting right. Hopefully, I'm not going to have to, Greg, go to the next hand next year and counting up the non-bowl seasons. But Nebraska's on the shelf along with, again, it's about 40 teams across America that will not participate in postseason play. But the work is not done for Scott Frost and staff. Greg Peterson, Husker Online, makes this all work. And here's our Huskers show live with all of you each and every week. Greg, how you doing?
Doing okay. I was going to say doing well, but then I switched to okay right in the middle of
Well,
that.
you're doing both.
Yeah,
So
so there you go. How about that?
very good. Very good. Well, National Signing Day is 2 weeks from Wednesday. And Nebraska is going to have a small class. Hopefully, it's a solid class. And we won't know that for 2 or 3 years for sure. But they picked up a couple expected commitments over the weekend.
They did. Yeah, they did. And brings them up to 11 commits in this class of, for high school players. And, it obviously the quick fix is not going to be through high school commits this year if you follow recruiting and follow the numbers and what's been going on. But you still like to be able to bring some of those young guys in, and I think Nebraska filling a couple of needs. They got a defensive end out of California over the weekend, Brody Tagaloa. Out of De La Salle High School, out of Concord, and he's a pretty good player. I saw him; he was on his official visit and saw him. And Tony Tuioti obviously is the coach that recruited him, and it adds to the Polynesian family pipeline that Tony Tuioti is trying to build here. That makes the third Polynesian player now on the roster, and you actually have two more coming in on official visits this weekend, both JUCO players out of Snow College. So, Nebraska really trying to tap into that Polynesian pipeline there. It's nice having a coach like Tony Tuioti who's proven comes in here and has built a pretty darn good defensive line. And, you can't ever forget that he's also got a son that's a pretty darn good outside linebacker too, coming up here in the 2023 class that Nebraska would love to have, wearing the red N on his helmet. And also some of the other recruiting ties the Tuioti family also has with the Ikanas, with another outside linebacker, one of the top outside linebackers in the country. With his sister, plays as a starter on the Nebraska volleyball team as a sophomore right now. So you got some pretty good hopes for building a little bit of a Polynesian tie here in Nebraska with that commit. So that helps out a position in need as always. And then today it wasn't any kind of a surprise whatsoever. We were waiting for it. But Malcolm Hartzog, another 3-star commit. He's a corner. He's more. Nebraska wants him as a kick returner, punt returner guy, as a return specialist. Obviously, that's a position in need for Nebraska with their special teams situation. And Malcolm, he's a heck of a player. He was Mr. Football in his class, the 3A class coming out of Mississippi, Mr. Football for the state this year. So he can play some ball. He played running back as well. And kind of funny, it's the second DB commit that they have out of the state of Mississippi this year. So that bodes well for the recruiting down in the southeast part of the country, in SEC country. So, two nice gets from Nebraska, and you'll see what else going. Now I expect a lot of the rest of this to be coming from the transfer portal, obviously. So, good weekend for Nebraska. good little pickup in recruiting.
For those of you who checked out the Pac-12 championship game and saw Utah throw Oregon all over the field as they did a couple weeks before that, the Polynesian route is not necessarily a bad way to go because Utah has built a foundation of a football program, especially along the trenches with those players.
And like I just mentioned, you got a couple of those guys coming in from Snow Junior College, which is also located in the state of Utah.
Very good. Very good. So should there be any concern as I look at these offers list for Hartzog and Tagaloa that they received 5 and 9 offers? Usually when we talk about these level of prospect that's going to go to a Nebraska, they're getting 20 or 25 offers.
That's more of an analytics type of thing. And how many times are those guys that have a bunch of offers are those guys that are a miss somewhere else? A lot of those guys you build your foundation on are diamonds in the rough and guys that weren't heavily recruited. And I think it's more of a belief in their ability and what they can see from them in the future. And like a guy like Hartzog, like I said, they want him as a return guy, so if you're going to be a return specialist and be able to receive a scholarship from a top-notch Power 5 university, and who knows, maybe he turns into the next Johnny Rogers. You never know. And on that note, I do want to, wish all my best to Johnny Rogers. He's in the ICU right now with COVID, former Heisman Trophy winner for Nebraska. So prayers and thoughts go out to Johnny and his family.
Absolutely. I did see that on the headlines, on the national headlines, college football headlines. Yeah, all our best out to one of the greats of all time.
Yeah.
Certainly. The other thing that comes to mind that slaps everyone that follows recruiting right in the face for Nebraska is the lowest ranked class in the Big Ten. So it's a small class. How much of that is attributed to the size of the class? How much of that's attributed to the quality of the class? And should we be concerned?
I'm not concerned at all. So that should just tell people that don't follow it that much and just think of numbers, not to be worried about that. It's just the sign of the times that we're in right now. It is a small class, and you forget that anybody you bring in the transfer portal, seasoned veteran players don't count in that recruiting class and don't translate into the numbers. So that's what Nebraska is heavily aiming on, and we've seen them constantly been putting out new offers on the hour to transfer portal guys, and to just to target one specific position. They offered a kicker out of Fordham coming into the transfer portal, which they have targeted on. So there's going to be a new kicker next year here, even though there's not a special teams coordinator in place. There never has been, but we're fully expecting that there will be a special teams coordinator here moving forward. Excuse me.
We talk Nebraska football, everyone, with all of you each and every week. Please hang with us during the off season. We're going to announce a possible new time and day each week. You can always give us your input in terms of what would work for you, but we will obviously need to make a decision based on what works for Greg's schedule and mine. So stay tuned for that. Subscribe to the channel, hit that bell for the notifications. That way you know when we go live. All right.
Ding, ding. Yeah, entertaining off seasons, just putting that mildly. It's already, fireworks are already been going on around here. So, yeah, it's a busy week right now. It's going to be a busy week until things get in place. So, No, Matthew's got that. Yeah, Matthew. Yeah, exactly. Uh, that's what Nebraska's looking for is those impact guys like a Samari Torre. That's you see the difference that he made coming in here for a year, and um, with a lot of the movement right now in the roster and everything, there's a lot of positions that are up for grabs, and you absolutely are looking to bring in a difference maker, a guy that's played a lot of football, a lot of college football at a high level.
Well, with the 2 commits coming in over the weekend, we shouldn't expect anything else before the early signing day.
There might be a thing or two. Possibly if they do some number crunching, there could be a possible in-state guy that ends up as a commit. We'll have to see. Like I said, it's so fluid right now with so many guys. I mean, just for example, when we were on last Monday, there were 3,000 guys that went into the transfer portal on Monday when it was all said and done. When we talked last Monday, and you throw on top of it all those coaching changes that keep on. I mean, every day there's a new one. It seems like, and so all of a sudden that throws recruiting classes up in the air from other schools as well. So yeah, it's just nuts right now. It's the wild, wild west. We've never seen anything like this, and what's going to happen next? That's you want to keep tuning in and see what's happening. I mean, heck, Joe Brady gets fired from Carolina Panthers yesterday, so all of a sudden, Nebraska's looking for an OC, and all of a sudden, that's a pretty big name that has that job title that's available all of a sudden, and my goodness, what's going to happen next? That's what I want to know.
Yeah, I'm searching for a updated list on the transfer portal period, but also the quarterback list. Michael Penix, the left-hander at Indiana, just announced yesterday, or maybe earlier today, Michael Penix in the transfer portal from Indiana. Extremely talented player.
Yeah, I've got an updated thread going on here, at least for Nebraska targets. If you want me to run it down, I can.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Steer through that baby.
All right. So offers that I can confirm. The kicker that I was talking about is Hunter Nurzad. Or no, I'm sorry. That's Timmy Bleekrod out of Furman. He's a kicker. Hunter Nurzad is an offensive guard out of Cornell, which is I'm not sure if he was in for a visit this weekend or if it's next weekend. I think it was this weekend. But he's like their top target right now. A guy that like a Matt Sticknerman who is graduating, kind of a guy that would be able to plug right into the offensive line. And then you got Ryan Stapp. He's at a ACU. He's a DB. I'm not sure what ACU is. Looking at that,
East Carolina.
No, ACU.
Oh, ACU.
Yeah, it's a junior college somewhere. Arizona Junior College, probably. I don't know. Then you got Sione Fionu, he's one of the Paulies. He's out of FIU, Florida International. He's another offensive lineman. And then MJ Griffin, a DB out of Temple. He's a 5'7" ranked 3-star guy. Then a defensive end out of Albany, Jared Verse. I know these don't sound great, the schools that these guys are coming from, but these are guys that they have targeted. Then out of FIU, 2 other guys, Tyrese Chambers, a wide receiver, and Miles Frazier, another offensive lineman. And New Mexico State wide receiver, Isaiah Garcia Costanza. So those are the guys that are confirmed offers right now. And then there's a huge list of targeted guys. safety out of Clemson, a guard center out of Wisconsin, safety from Alabama, wide receiver Illinois, quarterback Miles Brennan at LSU, Gervin Hall, a safety out of Miami, Micah Pittman, wide receiver from Oregon, Marcus Banks, a corner from Alabama. Oh boy, I can just keep a bunch of Alabama kids on here now that I'm looking at it. Boy, yeah, it's a huge list of potential guys, and you just never know. I mean, everybody's going to be courting a lot of these guys, and it's going to come down to fit and how comfortable they are. Because time's running. You want to make a decision quick, and move on, get to your new school as soon as you can. So it's crazy, yeah.
As we're being asked here in the chat from Rick, is there a short list of candidates for the offensive coordinator spot?
It's funny because in this day and age of college football, it's impossible to keep a secret. Scott Frost has been keeping this pretty close to the vest. So I expect something this week. I think is the week that we're going to hear something, because obviously a lot of the candidates on his lists were busy this weekend, and you're just not going to go. You can't go and start courting somebody who's actively still involved in their season unless they know they're out the door or being let go. So yeah, there's a lot of those names up there that you can throw into, and like I said, with Joe Brady coming available, I think that's got to be something that you have to definitely go after, because you just brought in Mickey Joseph from LSU as the wide receivers coach and pass game coordinator, who Joe Brady was his boss 2 years ago, doing the same dynamic. So that right there is a no-brainer that you have to explore. If it's me, if I'm Scott Frost. So yeah, I just, with everything that's been so fluid, I mean, it's hard to kind of narrow down a list right now. You can just do a hopeful list.
And based on what you just said, I made the comment a number of times in the last couple of weeks, in this information age where everybody's got access to information, everybody's got a computer in their pocket that's more powerful than what was needed to send a man to the moon, that it's impossible to keep anything a secret these days. But at the same time, Brian Kelly went from Notre Dame to LSU, and Lincoln Riley went from Oklahoma to USC, and that seemed, both of those, to blindside everybody.
Mario Cristobal to Miami today.
Well, at least we saw that coming. It's been
Right.
talked about for a few days. The Riley and Kelly moves seem to just hit everybody.
Yeah. It's it's so bizarre, and I mean, it's hard to nail it down for me to say, is it good or bad for Nebraska's situation? I gotta think it's good, because there's more names out there. There's more guys to interview. There's more choices, and
Yep.
Yeah. So obviously, I think that you're what, 4 weeks into knowing that you're going to need to replace these positions, and you had a list of guys at the beginning, and guys that you weren't able to talk to until now. And maybe some guys out there you still can't talk to, but I think now's the time. You got to jump on it and do something this week, and I fully believe that we will. And once that position's hired, I think you see the other two positions fill up right away. And from everything that I've heard, and I think that is most likely to happen, is that we'll have a new special teams coordinator as well by the end of the week. And maybe just going into next week, looking for that offensive line coach. Kind of hard to say right now, but there's been a lot of names thrown around for that. A former O-line coach here in the past, John Garrison's name has been one that's been thrown around from North Carolina. So, we'll see.
Like you say, I've got to think that it plays to Nebraska's favor because while I don't think are seeing any more coaching changes than we typically do, I think we're seeing more high-profile coaching changes. We usually see
right
8 to 10 guys get fired the Sunday after the season ends, but LSU, Oklahoma, USC, Miami, Oregon, TCU, Texas Tech, on down the line, all those open at some point, or not necessarily open, but where there's a change made and coaches wanting to put their own guys in place and bringing a couple guys with them, but that just creates a shakeup. The new guy cleans house, brings his own guys in. You're talking about assistants from high-level programs that are going to be on the market.
Oh, it's crazy, and the thing that you look at the contracts that these coaches are getting. It's just unbelievable, and that trickles down to their staffs as well. And oh my goodness, it's you offer a guy, you give this guy a contract, and do you really expect him to be there in 5 or 6 years? I don't know these days, but yeah, it's just it's nuts right now.
The one topic we didn't hit on, because at this point things are moving so fast, it seems like it happened 3 months ago, but it was just maybe 4 or 5 days ago that Adrian Martinez announced that he's going into the transfer portal, and we would be remiss not to give him some due time and respect for all that he contributed to the Nebraska program. So the question being cited here from Rick is where Adrian's going to land. Most sources online seem to peg Cal and Kansas State.
Well, he was spotted at Kansas State's practice over the weekend, over a bowl game practice. So yeah, he did take a visit to Manhattan. And I wouldn't be surprised if he did land back closer to home either. He is from Fresno, California, so Cal would be, and he's a smart guy too. And I'm not sure how much he's got left on to his master's or whatever he's working on, but would never be bad to add a degree from Cal on your resume either. So, yeah, I think he wants to go somewhere that he's going to be able to, actually play somewhere and go play in a bowl game, not necessarily win a national title or anything like that. And I mean, he was a heck of a player, and I think it's the best move for him. And I really don't see him playing next season anyway. I think he takes a redshirt year and plays the following season as a 36-year-old man. So because he just went through major surgeries, shoulder surgery on the same shoulder for the second time. So I expect for him for not even to play next year, but get into school somewhere and get into a master's program and work on his master's degree and then play, down the road in 2023.
I only saw a clip from his news conference, so I didn't see the entire thing. I've got to think that he stated something that there are no hard feelings. He loves the program. It's just a situation where he's been there for so long. It's maybe best for everyone. It
is best for him to move on. He played a lot of football here, and quite frankly, didn't win a lot of games here. And I think it's best for the fan base to move on and start over. And I think it's only fair. Obviously, you're bringing in a new offensive coordinator. Probably when you got a lot of guys in the transfer portal, which you can name a lot of good players at the quarterback position that you can make a wish list out of, and who would know that Adrian would be that guy's guy. So I think it's the best move for everybody, and there are no hard feelings. I mean, I think every Nebraska fan pours their heart out to Adrian and thanks him for everything he put on the line as a Nebraska Cornhusker. I mean, he laid his body on the line day in and day out and busted his tail every single day that he was here.
Absolutely. We're talking about the second leading passer in the history of the program in regards to yardage and fourth in touchdown passes.
And missing a lot of games due to injury, too, on top of that. So,
no question about that. Question asked here about, could there be a mistake selecting a quarterback out of the portal before getting an offensive coordinator because of a mismatch in style? But I really can't see that being a problem.
Obviously, I think you would want your offensive coordinator to kind of have a say in picking a guy. But on the flip side of that, if you're the general manager of an NFL team, wouldn't you want to get the best guy out there possible and roll with that? So yeah, that's a two-sided coin right there. I don't know how to really answer that question. Because I think obviously I would want my OC involved in who you want to fit your system. But we're also talking about what, a year, 2 years tops, maybe that this quarterback would be here. So yeah, you kind of think you want to get the guy with the most firepower. Or a guy, or a young guy that is dedicated and you're going to expect to be here that you can develop. So yeah, there's a lot of different ways you can go with that.
So, by the way, somebody cleared up the mystery on ACU. That would be Gillette, Abilene Christian University in Texas.
There you go. Yeah, I should have known that.
Abilene Christian, I believe it was, took Texas Tech last season to a 2-point conversion at the wire. And almost pulled off an upset. Yes. No. You know what? That was Houston Baptist that did that. Houston Baptist. I knew it was somebody I'd never heard of before.
Those crazy Baptists. Oh, goodness.
We've got the Theus here asking about what would be a satisfactory 2022 season. Get to a bowl game, right? Win 6, get to a bowl game.
With the schedule they have, you got to win at least 7 games. I think even 7 games is kind of iffy ground for Scott Frost. So I think you got to win 8 games at least to be satisfied and to be moving forward. So, and you know what, too, you don't really know. Things are so up in the air right now. I mean, if you're looking ahead with this Omicron variant on the coronavirus, who knows if Nebraska's trip to Ireland against Northwestern even happens week 0.
That's what I'm looking at right now.
Yeah, so my goodness, it's not like it used to be in the old days when you knew that every game scheduled was going to be played, and it's. But to answer that question, my answer is an 8 games at least you need to win next year.
Yeah, so another week 0 scheduled. Northwestern, like they were supposed to play Illinois last year, over in Dublin. And then
my boss is actually going there later this week for a promotional trip.
Okay.
So, yeah, we're actually heavily involved with this. We're partners with the Aer Lingus. They're a sponsor of the trip, and my boss Sean Callahan is their spokesman for this whole trip and everything. So kind of a cool deal. And they're putting us all up for the week in Dublin. So I sure hope that that thing happens because I've never been to Ireland.
Yeah, that would be cool. That would definitely be cool. Now, the 3 non-conference games, North Dakota, Georgia Southern, those obviously have to be wins. Oklahoma, that seems like this daunting task, but they played them within a score there on the road. New coaching staff. They're going to be transitioning into a new situation with Brent Venables, and in the games at home in Lincoln. And look how close Nebraska played Ohio State, Michigan, everybody else, especially at home. That's a winnable game. That is definitely a winnable game. And Greg, as you well know, because you alluded to it, so you've got it up here. I just wanted to check it out here. Replacing Ohio State, Michigan, Michigan State with Michigan. Okay, so basically replacing Ohio State and Michigan State with Rutgers and Indiana.
Looks good on paper, right?
It sure does.
Yeah. Yeah, we could take a little bit of that for a change here. And,
Finally a break, yeah, in the scheduling.
yeah, and hopefully they can take advantage of it. So, but, at this point, it's going to be a different looking team completely. I mean, especially on offense, for sure, it's going to be a different looking team. So, I think we have to wait to a little bit closer to kickoff of that game to start analyzing that one. On both sides. I mean, obviously with Nebraska or Oklahoma's going to have a lot of turnover as well with their roster. So, but I do like that. I like that hire there. I think Brent Venables will do an outstanding job there, and might be a better fit than Lincoln Riley was at that program when it's all said and done.
Yeah, he will definitely address the defense. That's his specialty.
Especially moving into the SEC, I think they need to go a little bit heavier defensively from now on than what they've been used to playing in the Big 12.
All right. I'm looking through the questions here to try to find something.
Yeah, they've got that kicker. They've got him targeted. So, and he's coming in here on a visit. So, he looks like a good one.
I don't know if Jordan knows something here or if he's just speculating or asking whether Spencer Radler has been spotted on campus.
Cannot confirm or deny that one, Jordan. Sorry. But I wouldn't be surprised if he showed up to check things out. Especially since he was supposed to be here next year to check it out in person anyway. So. Hey, we just got to get our coaching staff, set in stone. And another interesting little tidbit I will throw out there. I did mention John Garrison's name as the offensive line coach, but Brent Venables, or not Brent Venables, Donovan Raiola, the Chicago Bears offensive line coach, my beloved Chicago Bears line coach, is going to interview for the job. I can confirm that. So that might be something to keep your eye on right there.
Okay.
And I was also, when I was alluding earlier with special teams, Bill Bush, who's already on the staff, who's coached a lot of football and done that job, he's the front runner to get that right now. Either him or Virginia's Ricky Brumfield. So those are kind of, I think, your targets right now, with OC being the big question mark right now.
Reed is asking how Frost and company can begin to recruit better in Missouri with the wealth of talent in the Kansas City and St. Louis areas.
Yeah, that's kind of a mystery because Nebraska has always recruited that region really well. They even still were. I mean, obviously under Bo Pelini they did, and even under Mike Riley they were still recruiting the St. Louis area pretty good, pretty hard. And I know when Scott Frost and his staff came in here 4 years ago, they preached that they needed to hit that area, and quite frankly, it's kind of fell by the wayside. And I've actually heard from prospects out of the St. Louis area, out of the state of Missouri, and coaches and parents saying that Nebraska, when they show initial interest, and it has kind of dropped off then, and they stopped hearing from them, and that's kind of been a pattern that I've noticed, hearing from recruits about that. It's like, hey, wait a minute, I know you got a Nebraska offer. Where you stand with them? And like, you know what, I haven't heard from them in a month or a month and a half, and to me that's kind of shocking. So yeah, they really do need to take advantage of that area, because it's a fertile recruiting ground, and it's an easy drive. Your family can come and watch you play on Saturdays, and it's always been a place where guys from the state of Missouri have flourished coming to Nebraska.
All right, 100 plus on the line. Appreciate you being here for Nebraska Cornhuskers Live, especially since we didn't necessarily send out the notification too early. I sent it out. I got it out last night. That's right, when we nailed down the time for this week. So we're going to figure out the off-season schedule and get back to everyone on what works best for everyone. All right.
Hey, Alan had chimed in there with Tom Herman, and if you were watching last week, Alan, that was my dream scenario, was OC Tom Herman and then Mickey Joseph as the wide receiver coach. So got half of it so far. That was my dream as a recruiting guy. Because I definitely think that you need to get a guy that's really good with the state of Texas on the staff and open up that recruiting ground again. Because the state of Texas is kind of, Nebraska hasn't gotten a lot out of there in the last couple of years, and that's definitely another state. As we were just talking about Missouri and the St. Louis area, Texas is definitely another place there where they need to start hitting a little bit harder. So, yeah, I mean, right now on staff that for sure, with a Mickey Joseph, who is he was born in Baton Rouge. He's from Baton Rouge, played at Nebraska as a quarterback, bounced around, and then ended up at LSU as the wide receivers coach. And so he knows a little bit about the state of Louisiana and how to recruit it. And then you've got Sean Beckton, who is a stud, just owns the state of Georgia. And then you got Travis Fisher, who's a South Florida guy and, is big time down there. So you've got three of those big time states locked down now. And Texas is that one that you're really missing right now, in my opinion. And then obviously Missouri is another one high up there on the list.
Awesome. All right. I think we've done.
And then that's when you see that recruiting, everybody clamoring about the star rankings of your recruiting class. And, you start adding Texas back into the fold, and that picks up your recruiting rankings pretty quickly.
All right. I think we've done enough work today, unless anybody else has any comments or questions coming in. And again, we will set our off-season schedule and get back to everyone. Appreciate everybody being here.
Oh, one other thing.
Yeah.
Kind of that we did not hit, which would be a big blow, is that we kind of all expect Cam Jurgens to forgo and put his name into the NFL draft list. Forgo his last 2 seasons at Nebraska. So that's a very high probability that Nebraska is going to be looking for a new starting center as well. So, yeah, that's something else to keep your eye on right now.
Okay. All right, folks. Appreciate everybody being here. Nebraska Cornhuskers Live. Catch Greg's work right here on YouTube. Just go to Husker Online right here with Husker Online videos right here on YouTube. And, of course, the site, huskeronline.com. All right, man. Appreciate you making this happen 46 straight times.
Nice.
We'll be back next week.
Yeah, we'll almost get to 5-0 one of these days.
We will. I'm guessing it's going to be, I might be wrong, but I'm guessing in about 4 weeks we'll get there. God willing, we'll have a big celebration. Maybe I'll get some red balloons.
Yeah, I'll get a couple of noisemakers and a hat.
We'll do it. All right, everyone. Be back next week. We will see you soon.